Welcome back to Peace, Love and Tarot. This reading is for Virgo, Sun, Moon or Rising. Virgo, this is your weekly intuitive tarot reading from May 18th to the 24th. This week we have the Trust the Niggle Oracle card. We have Anahata behind that. We've got the King of Swords, the Queen of Wands, the King of Wands, the Queen of Swords, the Moon and the Six of Pentacles. So Virgo, this is weird. I think this is the first time I've ever seen two tarot couples come out in the same reading. It's interesting. It is. I'm quite blown away by it, actually. Look at all the people. Yeah, and the first thing that's coming to mind is some kind of power dynamic going on. You know, some of you might be at the moment like either living with or in lockdown with another couple. You know, or it could be, you know, your parents or someone like that. And I feel like there's something that they are withholding from you. Maybe some information, or there's just some kind of something going on behind the scenes. So it's quite an interesting dynamic here. I think it is quite a specific message, guys, obviously, but we're going to see where this goes anyway. You know, I think something about, you know, bringing things back into balance. I feel like there's been some kind of, you know, secrecy or withholding, or, you know, it's just like a weird dynamic in the household. And, you know, balance is what is required to bring this back into a place where, you know, everyone's kind of getting along and everything's even and that sort of thing. So it does kind of tie in with the oracle cards we've got here, because we've got Trust the Niggle, which is about really trusting your intuition and gut, together with the Moon card. Definitely something going on behind the scenes. We also have Anahata here. So Anahata is the heart chakra. And, you know, this is really an indication to come back into the body and tune into the body's wisdom to access this intuition about what might be going on in the situation. So, you know, there are three brain centers, you know, in our body: the gut, the heart and our brain. And you know, the heart actually has more electrical impulses than the brain. It's a great source of wisdom and knowledge, and it really can feel, you know, what's going on in a situation. Generally what you feel in that intuitive center is true. So definitely listen to that this week. It can really help to, you know, have a moment of stillness or silence, meditation, go for a walk, because that's when the body really speaks to us and where that wisdom comes from. So I feel like, you know, Anahata is definitely talking about your intuition. So is the Moon card, and so is this Oracle card here. So we have three indicators here to listen to your intuition, listen to that gut feeling. Something's going on, and you know, you're right in believing, you know, what it is. Maybe it's time to bring it to light. So I'm just going to read that one out, and then we'll go to the tarot cards. That niggling feeling, that annoying niggling feeling, that inconvenient annoying niggling feeling. Try as you might, it's there, and it's not going anywhere. Most people spend years ignoring their niggling feelings, throwing their best dollops of stubbornness, ego, and post-rationalization to numb them out. It's exhausting. Until you face the niggle, life just throws you more bait to awaken it, to draw your attention to the light within you that's bursting to come out. The niggle is an arrow pointing to what is standing in your way: the relationship, the conversation, the decision, the shift that needs to be made, the stone in your shoe. Yeah, I do feel like it's a conversation that needs to happen with the King and Queen of Swords in this reading. A conversation to bring some kind of truth or information to light. Because we've got the Moon here. Let's start with the Moon, which kind of ties into what we've just heard in the Oracle cards. There is something going on in the shadows, something going on behind the scenes, and I definitely feel like it's in your household. That's my strongest intuition about this reading. You know, it could be just that it's, you know, going on with another couple that you're closely associated with, but I'm really feeling in your household for some reason. You know, the Moon can talk about, you know, levels of deception or things happening in the shadows. You know, something that needs to come to light, that needs to be exposed. It also talks about your intuition and trusting that, you know, really trusting that side of yourself. It can talk about, you know, the need to integrate the shadow side, or the you know, the subconscious and the conscious. That's why we see the, you know, the wild wolf and the tame dog here. So, you know, there might also be a message in here for you to, you know, really own all parts of yourself and integrate them. Or maybe, you know, somebody in this couple that we see here isn't kind of owning their shadow side, and maybe that's kind of playing out in kind of, behaviors in your household, whether they're kind of, doing some manipulation or undermining, or, it's that kind of behavior that just seems a little bit off. But I really feel that, this is the week where the truth comes to light and there might be a bit of a showdown. And it could be because you're in lockdown with this couple, and you've had enough and you've been sitting with this for a while. That niggling feeling's not going away. And, it's time to get answers. It's time to get some clarity. Now, I did obviously seek a few more answers for this reading because we have so many kind of, people cards here. I just wanted to point out, first of all, that at the bottom of the deck I have the Seven of Swords. So that kind of ramps up that level of deception that we see in the moon. The Seven of Swords really can be somebody even physically taking from you. They might be manipulating the household finances in some way. The swords is our intellectual energy, so it can be somebody kind of, putting you down, or, making you small or belittling you in some way in order to inflate their own ego, or to, gain a sense of power as well, is what I'm kind of feeling with this. It's kind of the card of the sneak or the sly, but there's definitely levels to it. So we definitely have some kind of shady behavior, some kind of deception. Yes, it can involve, the taking of, physical resources, but I am feeling more of a kind of power dynamic here in this reading. So, I feel, I'm just going to pop that to the side so I don't knock it off. I feel that it's this couple here that you're dealing with, the King and the Queen of Wands. Now, they could be, one of them could be a fire sign, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, but generally when, the couple of the same suit comes out in a reading, they are, a strong couple. They are, maybe quite a soulmate energy. So that's what I'm feeling about this couple. And this couple could be, really ruling the roost in your household. So it could be a couple that you live with, or it could be even your parents. It can be vice versa. Like, it could even be, your couple. So just to watch that as well if you think that's the case. I really feel that this couple are, like I said before, really asserting their power and authority in the household, maybe dictating the rules and that kind of thing. Maybe a little bit of throwing their weight around or manipulating, and I feel like it's for their gain. So, that's an interesting reading here, but that is really what I'm feeling from this, and I feel like there's some kind of unfair dynamic that is being, created through this, and that they may have an agenda, and you don't know what that is, and that's what's not sitting well with you. But I really feel that this is the week that you are going to, bring this to light. Now, I asked for a little bit more information about this couple just because it's such a crazy little reading here, and the Hierophant and the Two of Cups came out, so fitting. So it's definitely a couple that are in a committed relationship, and are definitely, soulmates together, which is why there's, such a strength to them. And we do have the link back to Leo again, so I think it's a strong sense that one of them is a Leo. The Hierophant, means that they could be married or obviously deeply committed, but also the Hierophant is about traditional values. So it could be that this couple is trying to impose their traditional values on you, and that's where there could be the kind of, argumentative energy, or not seeing eye to eye with the, the real fire energy here. There could actually be arguments that are erupting over this as well. So that's what I'm feeling there, that maybe they're trying to impose their values on you, and it might not necessarily just be in a sense of, relationships. It could be, like they're really, when this lockdown's over, you've got to get back into a good job and da-da-da-da, and maybe they're just like kind of being quite controlling, and, you can't get away from it, and that sort of energy. So that's also what I'm feeling there. So whatever it is, I really feel like you have had enough, and this is the week where you're really going to put your foot down and communicate that to this couple, another couple. But here I'm really seeing this as a double hit of the swords, the Queen and King swords energy. So as energies, the King and Queen of Swords, they are the ones that really, seek truth, that, communicate to bring things out into the open, who want clarity, who want vision, who want everything to be, happening, not behind the scenes. So I really feel that you are going to be the one, Virgo, this week that initiates a conversation that kind of like unfolds this whole thing, brings it to light, see what is really behind their motive, what is behind their agenda. And, the King and Queen of Swords, they sit on their cliff tops there, and, from that vantage point, they have a 360-degree view. They can see everything that's going on. So I feel like you've been sitting for a while, kind of watching what's going on, and now you feel like you've got enough information to go in there and start the conversation. But I feel like you're going to find out the full story as you go through this interaction. And it's going to be transformative in some way. Both of the King and Queen of Swords have the butterfly motif, as a symbol of transformation. It's bringing truth to light and, openly communicating that, transforms, it transmutes. And I have a feeling that this is going to be a really positive outcome. That, yes, there's been something going on, you've had that gut feeling, but just by getting everything out there and having this open and honest conversation, I really feel that it's going to be transformative for everyone involved, and that you're actually going to move forward in a really positive direction after this, because we have the Six of Pentacles here, and I drew a second one for that as well, because we really need all the information we can get in this reading, guys, and I got the Star. So there's something about this kind of confrontation or this communication that's going to happen that's going to rebalance the energies in your household. These scales here, they're kind of like the universal scales of life, and this is the action this week that brings them back into balance. There might have been this power play in the household of, them up there, you down here, and them kind of holding that position. Well, I feel that's all going to even out. And the Star, that's that sense of healing, of renewal, starting that relationship over, getting that sense of, refresh in that as well. And yeah, you might be feeling quite vulnerable, and they might be as well. But this is the start of a fresh new beginning, where again we have the indicator of balance here. And I feel like there's going to be real growth as well in the situation for all of you involved. So guys, it is a really specific little reading. Gosh, please do let me know if this resonates for anyone, because like I said, this is the first time that I've actually seen, two tarot couples come out in the same reading. So it's really, you could also be a couple as well, interacting with another couple, and there could just be like that power dynamic between you guys, and I really feel like this is a living situation. So let me just draw a couple of keywords from this little deck. Well, fulfillment, or that one came out really quickly. Fulfillment. Yeah, so I really feel that through having this conversation and bringing it to light, it's going to bring things back into balance, and that's going to lead to a greater sense of fulfillment. Whereas if you'd left this bubbling away, it probably would have just escalated and exploded. And discretion, yeah, so just making sure that you do use your discretion when you have this conversation. The Swords energy can be sometimes cutting, so sitting down clearly, calmly, going through the facts, not trying to get over emotional as well. Use your discretion in how you approach this situation to get the best outcome. Okay, Virgo, I'm going to leave it there. Please do report back on this. It's a very interesting reading. Yeah, it's pretty weird, but I think that it's definitely for one or two of you. Do keep in mind, if it's a general reading, it's not going to fit everyone, especially this reading in particular. And I'll see you back here next week for another reading.